Boys, I did want to talk to you about something though. I've got a bit of a talk topic for you. I want, especially because you've got Jordan there, Derm's there. Who do you think would win if you put 1989 Hawks against like 2014 Premiership Hawks? If you just took those two Premiership teams, who do you think's going to win? You reckon Josh Gibson could stop you, Derm?
Easy.
Oh, come on,
Look at this, straight in.
Come on.
Well, that's insulting.
Gibbo was very, very good.
But
we're talking different leagues, though. Come on, mate.
Right. Okay. All right.
you wouldn't have got much service. You would have.
You know
what?
I'll answer, Simon. I'll answer this as best as I can.
Yeah.
The midfield was deeper. The midfield was deeper in Louis' 2014. We had champion players besides Johnny Platten. Anyone who went into the middle of the ground was part-time. Like Buckenara was an awesome midfielder, but he only played 40 minutes a game in there. Tucky probably played another 5 years or so, but 3 seasons. But he was, by then he was part-time into the midfield, one of the greatest midfielders of all time. But he was like 40 minutes a game in the midfield. Schwab did a job. Condon did a job. Anderson was a runner on the outside. Pritchard was, a winger, so not inside. So
Loveridge, was he?
No, not in 89.
Richard,
Johnny Platten ran him out of a job. I reckon Johnny went 18 months without changing off the ball and didn't come to the bench for an interchange either. He ran on ball for 18 months. And some blokes are flat out going from 7 minutes to 8.5 when they're down on rotation. He ran 18 months. How can you do that? Johnny Platten was the best player. Who's the best player I've seen? Lee Matthews. But in my time, for service, pure ability, and effect on the game, Johnny Platten was the best player I played with. Phenomenal. He just did not go off ball. In the end, we asked where Richard Loveridge went. Richard couldn't get on ball, but Richard was he was probably the second, third best rover in the league, but Johnny just wouldn't change. Yeah. And Richard wasn't powerful enough as a small forward to hold his spot. So great mate, Brother Witts comes in, who was robust and a great tackler. And
Chris Whitman, that is, for those playing at home.
Oh, what did I call him?
Brother Witts.
Oh, Brother Witts, Chris Whitman, yes. So he came in. So your 2014 team was deeper through the middle. But if you go to the back line, in the days of State of Origin, you kept a 6 in your State of Origin back line when you kept the 6 on the ground. We had 4 of them. Starting State of Origin back 6, we had 4 of them. Ayres, Langford, Mew and Andy Collins. We had 4 of the starting 6. Paul Roos would get a gig on the back flank, something like that. So our back line was unbelievable.
And your forward line was pretty decent too, with yourself and Dunstall.
Probably better than that, Anthony.
Yeah.
A couple of players. But
I don't have the recollection. I mean, you clearly played through the 80s, and then
you
were
3
or
something, weren't you, at the time?
Well, I was born in 86, so I was 3. But then
I won that year too.
But I looked and when you mentioned that, I looked at that side, and that side would survive at any stage in the history of the game. So it would be. So the athlete these days, and so take the defence of the 89 and then take our forward line, they would monster our forward line. Now maybe Buddy and Ruffy are probably the 2 that would stand up and actually maybe cope with that type of physical opponent.
So who would play on Buddy, Derm?
Langford.
Langford.
See, and the other thing is with Chris Langford, I thought he was genuinely stiff, and as much as I admire and think Steve Silvani was and is one of the all-time greats, he got fullback of the century. I thought Langford was desperately unlucky.
Right, so that's how high you're...
And not saying this is an overstatement, Chris Langford played 302 games, I think it was. I saw him get beaten until his last season. I saw him get beaten once. Plugger got hold of him, I think kicked 7 on him in 3 quarters of football.
And if you analyse the 89 grand final and watch the battle between Langford and Ablett, I mean, it's one of the... Ablett's kicked 9.
He kicked 3 on him.
And
Langford won the spot.
Yeah, he did, because Ablett had already racked up 6 goals.
6 on Scotty. Langford played on Carey when Langford still had his physical prowess, and Carey was on the rise. Langford used to win those. And if Wayne's watching, he'll say, "Oh, come over here, he'll have a go." Hand on heart, Langford used to beat Carey, and then Carey's physical prowess rose while Langford's was dropping, and then the tables turned. But on the way up, Langford had him covered.
So I cut you short, George. Sorry, you were...
No, I was just saying that when you look at that back line compared to the forward, so you look at say someone like a Jack Gunston, who in this day and age is a seriously good player. If he came up against someone that was more physically apt at playing against him, maybe he would not have probably been that type of player that he is now, because the athlete and the player has changed dramatically. So, yeah. We would have won just.
We wouldn't cope with your structure. I tell you what, though, if they had rules of the 666 and you had to play one-on-one, we would have won by a lot.
By an absolute mile, you reckon?
No, because the guys these days are smarter at zoning off.
There they are. Yeah. We wouldn't cope with that.
It's a great question, Simon. What's your own view before we let you go?
Yeah, well, I reckon exactly as you guys said, the midfield battle, I think the 2014 team, they definitely get up because there is just plats. But if it starts as one-on-ones across the field, I think the 89 team probably just too strong. They're just too big. You're not going to win those one-on-ones, but it's when the 2014 team gets the other players involved and Josh Gibson peels off, and that's when it starts to become a bit of a real question, I suppose. So one-on-one, I think 89, but team-wise, probably the 2014 team. That's it for me. So sorry, Derm.
Yeah, it's not as if the 2014 team's going to play fair.
And we
go one-on-one.
And the 2014 didn't have Bud.
You can play everybody, but nobody's allowed to play on anybody else. No, you've got to stay on your man. I don't know how that conversation would go down.
Give me 2013.
You
Franklin's there.
You want Franklin there? Well, maybe put Mewey on him there.